In this video, I'm going to show you these really easy and really quick to make wooden boxes. Hey everyone, welcome to David's DIY Reviews. On this channel we do a lot of quick woodworking builds like this, also tool tutorials and tool reviews. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for a lot more really great content. Now let's get into the build. So the first step is going to be laying out our pieces to cut them to size. The base length of mine is going to be 12 inches or a foot. It'll be a bit over a foot because of the width of the ends, but we'll mark it at a foot. We'll draw a line across. You're definitely probably going to want to use a square of some sort, especially on your base because it's a lot wider. You want to make sure your piece is at 90. And if you're starting with a straight stock, just check that end to make sure it's square as well, or it's just not going to be square in the end. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut off our base. This is going to be a really important cut to make. You're going to want to make sure that this cut is really straight, really square. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So we'll just finish cutting this and then we'll move on to laying out the sides and cutting them. And the base of the box I'm making is a piece of 1x8 poplar. I'm using poplar. The 1x8 is actually 7 1/4 by 3/4. You could use any size wood you want. All the dimensions and instructions for this box will be in the description below. The sides of my box are going to be a piece of 1x4, which is actually 3 1/2 by 3/4 inch. So we'll make two sides, so we'll mark them at 1 foot as well. Remember, you don't want to mark both at the same time because the curve of your saw is going to end up making the second one smaller. So we'll mark one, we'll go ahead and cut it, then we'll mark the other and cut it as well. And I'm going to make these, actually I'll mention now, the same length as the base because the ends are what's going to stick past the sides once these are nailed on the side like that. So I've cut my first side, I marked the second one, we'll go ahead and cut that now. And then we'll get on to marking and cutting the ends. And after that, we'll be getting right into assembly. So we'll finish cutting this, do the sides, and we'll start building. Sometimes too, when you're making a project with symmetrical pieces like this, it's a good idea to mark them where they fit together because sometimes you'll forget and you'll put this on that side and it won't quite fit perfectly. I mean, if everything's cut perfect, it shouldn't matter what end is what. But if you're cutting with hand tools and it's not exactly perfect, sometimes marking it is a good idea, or marking top and bottom, left and right, or front and back. It's going to help you along the way. Also, now that we've got all of our pieces cut out, it's probably a good idea just to give all your ends a nice little sand. Go around, sand all your ends up now, because it's going to be much easier to do now than it will later. So we'll go ahead and sand everything up now. So we're ready for assembly now, and the first thing I'm going to do is nail the sides on the base because you can get them just perfectly flush and then we'll nail the ends on. If you nail the ends on first, it might be hard to get it lined up perfectly. So we'll go ahead, we'll probably pre-start my nails. I'll just do 3 little nails down the side. And I'm just using some nice little finishing nails to not have a big nail head. You can use nails with big heads if you like, if you want that look. And remember, all the dimensions and instructions will be in the description below. So we'll go ahead and start assembling. And when you're presetting your nails in the bottom, just remember that the thickness of the base, this isn't the base, but it's the same thickness. The thickness of your base is 3/4 of an inch. So you're going to want you can kind of eyeball it, but you're going to want your nails 3/8 of an inch up from the bottom so that they will go right into the middle of the base when this nail's on. So we'll go ahead and we'll start getting some of these nails set. The middle one, you can measure to center if you want. I'm just going to eyeball it because you won't really see it up against the other side. Probably would be a good idea to measure it to get exactly center, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. So there's many different ways you could go about setting this up to nail it. However you feel comfortable holding your project. I'm going to kind of stand it up like this so that I don't lose any power of my hammering down through, holding it sideways. So we'll just get the nail started and get it in there. So we'll just finish nailing this side on, and then we'll move on to the ends. And so when I nail the ends on here, I would probably nail the bottom first, because if these side pieces are wanting to flex in and out, if you nail the bottom first, you can kind of tweak the top of this around to line it up just perfectly. So we'll nail the bottoms, one nail in the bottom, one nail on the top. And if you want, you could probably put one center, but I'll probably just do two in each side. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So I've moved off my bench to the floor here. It's just a little more of a solid surface to nail. So like I was saying, when you're nailing this end on, don't worry too much about lining the bottom up. We want to get the top lined up perfectly. I've got this corner nailed in so that my top is flush. So you want to kind of hold the side and the end even. And like I said, we'll nail that bottom one in first. And then we can kind of tweak that top side around when we nail that in to get it just perfectly flush. And we'll go ahead and do the other side just the same. We got the bottom nailed in flush and flat. We get that top corner nice and straight, and we'll nail it in. And just like that, we've got a nice finished product, a nice little wooden box. You can do anything with this. You could paint it, you could stain it, you could leave it raw. You can do anything you want with this. It's a nice little quick build, about a 10-minute build. And like I said, instructions, dimensions in the description below. And this was a really good one. So this was a really fun one. These little wooden boxes, these are a great, kind of beginner build. You can build these for so many different purposes. It's a really quick and good way to get into woodworking. They're about a 10-minute project. They're a lot of fun. I really recommend these. And like always, guys, David's DIY reviews, weekly videos. Check you guys in the next one.